Looks like we got ourselves a good old standoff. Your squad versus the Sweats. One problem, their team is better. But what if your fights could be as easy as this? Just because your team isn't as talented doesn't mean you can't be as successful. There are 4 simple tips you can implement right away to help you and your squad win more team fights, specifically against sweaty teams. Because if we can understand the sweat mob mentality, we can counter it. Now, even as a rookie crew, getting more squad wins is easy. Let's say you guys are getting into a gunfight and the enemy starts converging fast. What you need to do is...
Got me good.
Okay, that's fine. So we just need to adjust and...
Gotcha.
Well, maybe easy wasn't the right word, but this is an easily solvable problem I call the downed man problem.
Not your problem, Doc. That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
In every squad, there is always one player who goes down first.
Fuck!
If you can't think of who it is, I've got bad news for you. Not only are they usually knocked quickly,
One shot, other one ran up front.
but they also come with the possible side effects like begging or yelling for you to come revive them.
I'm safe.
The obvious problem here is that when one teammate goes down, you instantly lose the numbers advantage. For example, in quads, you go to a 4-3 disadvantage. And if you struggled with math in school like me, 4 is greater than 3, which is bad for us. So what do? Your first instincts might be to go revive the down teammate. Don't do this. Why not, you might ask? Don't we want to have as many people up as possible? Well, if you try to revive your teammate, what you're unintentionally doing is removing yourself from the gunfight. You might not think about it this way, but while the other team is most likely pushing, you're not doing anything to help except sprinting headfirst to Timmy down on the ground. Instead of being 4 versus 3, you're no longer part of the equation. And now it's a 4v2. Revives may only last for a couple of seconds, but the average time to kill with any weapon in Call of Duty is less than half a second. So if you go to instantly revive your teammate, that becomes the perfect window for the other team. Your teammates will get overwhelmed, you'll all get wiped, and while you're a little mad at Timmy for getting knocked first, you have equally contributed to the problem.
Stupid bastard. Easy, kid. I'm sorry.
Especially if you're the last guy on the team, because while you did knock my teammate, you just got your whole team clipped. Oh my God. He's rezzing. What an idiot. So do we just let them bleed out? No. Well, maybe. How bad is the situation you're in? Instead of instinctively running over and starting the stim process, let's just take a small moment to gather information. Did you hear glass break or doors open? We know you can't hear footsteps in this game, but do you see any pings on your minimap? Are they above or below you? Listen to your teammates. What are they telling you about the fight? Do you have any idea what's happening? If not, figure it out first. If you ever watch high-level Warzone players play ranked or competitively, you'll often see them slide in and out of corners around their down teammates before reviving. This is so they can check and make sure nothing bad is happening imminently. We need to make sure our team survives before we revive. Take a few moments, clear your area, get control, then revive. You'll improve your odds of winning these types of fights, and the more you do it, the quicker the process. And even more importantly, if you happen to be the downed man in this situation when you get revived, do not run away. Get back into the fight as soon as possible. Again, this is a numbers game. I'm not saying you should instantly jump out like some kind of lunatic, but if you run away to plate, you might as well still be knocked. You do not need to plate all the way to full health to get back into the fight. 1 or 2 plates will do. So in this moment, after I get the res on my teammate behind the wall, he reloads and instantly stands up to help me against the other team. If he didn't do that, more than likely the person in the window would have knocked me or pushed me. You'll notice that it's not until after we back them down and I begin to push forward that he then begins to plate. And it's because of this decision that our team gets the wipes and we win the engagement. Trades are one of the most important factors in any gunfight and are critical in determining which team gains control. The team that manages to trade better usually wins the fight, which is the single best way for a bot squad to beat a sweaty one. The goal is always to make sure we're keeping the numbers in our favor, and you can't do that if you run away. There's no guarantee you'll win every time, but I guarantee you'll survive more often. Now you might be thinking, what if I want to avoid that situation altogether? Don't we want to avoid having a downed player at the start of a gunfight? Well, yeah, I would agree that's not so great. So how do we stop it? Like any duel, the more we know about our opponent's tendencies, the easier it is for us to counter them. We need to understand their mindset. You see, you have to think of these teams as a single organism, operating without communication in total unison. They know how to play together and what each other is doing without ever saying a word. Not to say that they don't communicate, but the basic things that you and your teammates need to describe to one another, these teams already understand. For example, if you have a UAV up, you might need to remind your teammates to look at the minimap and call out where the enemy players are. A sweaty team all instinctively look for the red dots, and if there's an enemy close, they will focus on that close fight or a fight they think is better before prioritizing players farther away. There's an understanding of what each individual player should be doing without the need to communicate it. It can be why a lot of people think some of the top players are cheating. Not to say there aren't a ton of cheaters, but great players exist and have an incredible game awareness that you and I might not always appreciate. So to understand why your team is always the one being pushed, there are 3 things to know about the sweaty mentality. Number 1, they want to get into and end fights as quickly as possible. Sweaty teams play fast. They drop hot and try to roll through teams because the longer a fight goes on, the more likely another team is to enter the fray.
Let's do this.
This is called a third party, and they're trying to avoid it at all costs. Number 2, to quickly end fights, they will be aggressive, probably more aggressive than you and your compadres. If you panic under pressure, this can be detrimental to you, but we can use their impatience against them. Number 3, and arguably the most important, is they probably have more information than your team. You ever feel like your team is the one that's being targeted? Like no matter what you do, you're always getting overwhelmed. It's because sweaty teams are doing their best to get as much information as possible quickly. Body teams don't do that. So while you're taking your time looting or wandering, the other team has grabbed a UAV, their loadout, and is moving to either cut you off or take you by surprise. If it feels like your team is always being targeted, it's probably because you are. When you have no awareness and no communication, there's no way for you to know what's going on, and you're gonna get caught off guard every time. The only way to stop this is to fight fire with fire. You need to counter their info with your own. And I'm not saying you should be up late at night studying routes and coming up with in-game strategies, but I promise you, even if you just take some time to look around the game, it'll make a world of difference. So you'll notice here that my teammate calls out small things like
He just bought.
Or
Car.
to make sure the entire team is aware of it. Or when we're pushing up this hill, one of my teammates calls out,
Can't challenge this with an AR.
I can't challenge this, which is the perfect thing to do. It's not great that they can't currently engage with me, but it lets me know they won't be able to help. And I can use that information to inform who and how I choose to fight next. So what I recommend doing is this. If you're not headed towards a fight and aren't currently in one, prioritize figuring out where the closest team is at. It's a real simple, loose piece of advice, but I promise it'll make a world of difference when it comes to getting caught off guard and always getting knocked first. We need to change our mentality from how can I get my loadout or where is the zone going next to where are we at and where could we get pushed from? It's a simple shift in mentality, but by making a proactive, conscious effort to increase your awareness, you'll notice yourself grabbing more UAVs, rotating to stronger positions, and catching the team before they catch you. So again, if you're not in a fight, start preparing for the next one and communicating that information to your team either verbally or through the ping system. Keep small talk going, even if it's casual. And I promise with that shift in mentality, your team's durability will go up 10x. But information alone won't increase your lethality as a team. How do we deal with aggressive playstyle? Well, like any good underdog story, we can use the other team's overconfidence against them. Remember, our goal here isn't to outsweat the other team, because that's not a realistic expectation. Unless you want to put in the same amount of time and consume the same amount of white monsters, we aren't going to be able to close the gap in a couple of nights. We just need to improve our decision making. So let's become a nuisance, and a big part of becoming a nuisance is learning when to disengage. For example, this is a game on Rebirth Island where my team is getting loot and their loadout near Big Green and living quarters. But you might have noticed that something is off. How is the first circle already about to close? Well, the game actually started here. We were trying to land a control center, but while we split up off spawn, we were pushed by a sweat squad and quickly overwhelmed. So what were our options? Well, for one, we could have slowly trickled back into the same spot, get picked off, and stayed down in numbers, and likely lose the game. Or we could disengage and get our footing back. Rather than fly back in with pistols and risk a full wipe, we chose to reset. If you're spawning back in and your team is losing 4v2 or even 3v2, by the time you spawn, drop in, pull your chute and try to help, more than likely it's already too late and you've wasted everybody's time. I'm not saying you should abandon your team, but if your team is in a losing situation against a better team, it's okay to spawn safely and to live to fight another day. Best case scenario, you can get your guns back and rotate in to help them if they're still up. And if you're not too sure, just ask them, should I drop in? What's it look like down there? Or let them know, hey, I'm coming or I'm going to reset. Communication is key. But if we jump back into our example, we reset and now we have our loadout and our team is together. It's payback time.
Where's Wyatt? Right behind you, Stillwell.
We know there are still teams fighting at control who are distracted by the fight that is currently unfolding in front of them. And we have what just might be the most golden opportunity in any FPS. We get to third party. We get to be the ones coming in to sweep up some free kills. A third party isn't just a big threat. It's the biggest threat for a sweaty team. The receiving end of a third party is very frustrating. But when you're the one third partying, it's probably one of the very few parts of a game where a full team of demons is vulnerable to a bot squad. There are 3 key ingredients to a perfect third party: proper reset, precise positioning, and perfect timing. Now, a proper reset can mean one of 2 things. One is what we just mentioned. A sweaty team rolls up on you and they get 2 knocks within the first 20 seconds of the gunfight. Time to run and reset. It may seem like you have a choice to either stay and fight, hide in a corner, or run, but it is in these very moments that the fate of your team is in your hands, and there is only one option: run.
Listen to me now. We gotta get out of here.
If you stay and fight, you'll almost certainly suffer the same fate as your buddies, and please don't hide in a corner. I promise the other team will find you. A proper reset could also just mean that you're coming into the fight fully plated and geared up. Your team is looted and booted and ready to roll. The concept here is that we've reset the scenario and are starting on a fresh and even playing field, or preferably a more advantageous one. So if you're escaping a bad gunfight and your teammates are spawning back, start opening crates and collecting money. If you have time, get a loadout, but if not, get guns you feel the most comfortable with. Be intentional in your thought process. What kind of fight are you about to get into? Is it close quarters? Is it long range? Would 2 SMGs be better? Do you need an AR or a sniper? These are all things to think about when resetting for a third party. But ideally, we've reset and got our wits about us, so what's next? Well, we need to approach with precise positioning. There's no point in escaping if we throw it away instantly. Examples of throwing it away instantly would be everyone flooding through one door, jumping headfirst through a window, staggering your push and getting picked off one by one, blowing your load early by shooting from miles away at an impossibly difficult target to hit. Yeah, I'm talking to you, the teammate that always thinks they can get the quick knock with their snipe. No, you can't. Stop. Instead, try this. Let's take up space. As a team, it should be your goal to get different line of sight on team 1 and team 2 while they're fighting. You know how sometimes when a squad is pushing you, it can feel overwhelming? That's what we want to do to these sweaty teams. As a general rule, you should be far enough away from your teammate that you have a different angle or a different LOS, but you should be close enough where you still have the chance to get the trades we talked about earlier. Practically, what this means is if you see your teammate move to a heady or some area, go somewhere else. The more angles your team can cover in a contained area, the harder it will become for the other teams to make any kind of recovery. It sounds simple enough, but it might blow your mind how often I'll catch an entire team all standing within 5 feet of each other. The classic stacker situation. And while they may kill you, they're easy kills for a very good team.
Dude, there's no aim assist.
Nice team.
If you take the right amount of space, it also gives you more information, and you get a better idea as a team of how and when to engage, which brings us to timing. The timing of when you choose to actually start the fight is quintessential to executing a third party and winning. If you go too early, you risk running into 2 full squads who haven't traded and are still healthy. You'll be cannon fodder, thrown around like a dirty sock in your washing machine, but go too late and you'll have let the sweats reach that and gain full health again. They will be just as dangerous as the first time you fought. This is why the information you're able to get while taking space and positioning is so important. If you have a UAV, use it. Communicate. Did you see 1 or 2 players get knocked? Is there less gunfire now? These are all indicators for timing. Also, look at the kill feed. This can give you vital information. If you see players get knocked or hear a lull in the noise or hear a res, it's time to go and start to pick them apart just like this. And just like that, not only have we gotten revenge, but we've taken out a team you probably normally wouldn't be able to. Now, up until this point, most of the things we've talked about are reactionary. How do you salvage a fight when a teammate goes down early? What can we do to prevent being overwhelmed? How can we regain and take the advantage? But what if we want to be proactive instead of reactive? Remember how I said we want to use our enemy's aggression against them? Well, here's where we can do that, and it starts with better routes. Now, I want to emphasize this again. This doesn't take hours to do. A lot of times when it comes to tips like these, my goal is to bring more awareness to what your options are over having you memorize anything. You do not need to study CDL breakoffs to be successful, but if we're going to be the aggressors for once, it's important to talk about our routes going into gunfights. And I do think you should be more comfortable getting into gunfights. 9 times out of 10, whoever shoots first in COD wins. So I want to make sure we're getting the first shots and the first knock. Picking a good route is all about timings and angles, similar to what we talked about with third partying. In most situations, you have a lead and support, and each will take a lead and support route respectively. The goal is for the support to take a different angle from the lead, and if they can't take a different angle, they need to make sure their timings are tight. The things we don't want to do is stagger our routes and attack from the same angle. This is the easiest team wipe for any sweat. You'll notice that as I'm following my teammate towards the bounty, if I see him go right, I go left.
She's close here.
On me, fence.
As he calls out the enemy, I move towards him to keep our spacing tight. And as I see him readjust to the new angle and relocate the other player, I maintain holding his old position. The other team decides to run away, but I am still continuing to support my lead teammate and take different angles.
Yo, there's someone on you, bro. Be careful.
And if I'm the lead, I want to make sure I don't go too far ahead of my support before I take a new angle. As we approach this team on the outside of zone, my green teammate is lagging a bit behind. So before I push too far forwards, I hold my position, see them next to me, and then drop down to fight. Easier said than done, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. The exactness of what angle and route you take doesn't matter so much as that you're keeping these things in mind. If you genuinely would like to win more team fights against better teams, these things matter. So how do all these principles work together? Well, we're about to enter late game and we're down a player and have little information. So the first thing we're going to do is prioritize a buy station. We could have chosen to go into the middle of circle first, but by prioritizing the buy station, for one, it'll help us get even numbers and get our teammate back, but more importantly, we can grab a UAV. Because we're rotating from out of zone to in, we don't exactly know what's in front of us, so we should prioritize increasing our awareness and understanding of where players are on the map. And sure enough, there's a player right in front. It's only a solo that we quickly push out.
team on the left also.
But immediately after that, we
in
start
big building.
calling out where other teams are at. To our right. We need to focus our right. Taking small steps like this informs where we look as a group and how we position ourselves going forward. The final zones begin to collapse and we continue to work towards the center, maintaining different angles within range of each other. We don't want to only focus on one direction and we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in one spot. We work our way inside the center building and there they are, a sweat squad. Well, lucky for me, we've already taken up a good spot inside and we've been calling out player locations. So I'm ready to go and get the initial knock.
Wait, on.
We were on second floor.
Does anyone have sniper ammo for me?
My teammate decides to lead the push to get the wipe, which is my cue to support. We want to maximize our numbers advantage. We pin them down inside this truck.
Whole squad in there.
And even though my teammate goes down, we get the wipe and work back inside. You'll notice again, I don't immediately go for a res, and even our third teammate holds an angle first so that the down player can get inside, and then I can get the res off. From here, we don't overextend or make hasty decisions, and even though there's no cinematic, climactic conclusion, our team gets the win.
Nice.
And I'll take a win any day of the week. And maybe if your team plays its cards right, you can do the same thing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.